changed my title to Techno King. And by the way, this is a formal SEC filing. I'm legally, or whatever, Techno King. I just did that as kind of like a joke.
The Securities and Exchange Commission has filed suit against Elon Musk, alleging securities violations that involved stiffing his shareholders. And it's not nice to stiff your shareholders. They're the only ones who seem to matter these days. According to reporting, Musk is being sued by the SEC for allegedly failing to disclose his ownership of Twitter stock and later acquiring shares in the company at artificially low prices, stiffing other shareholders. According to the suit, Musk did not disclose that he had acquired a 5% stake in the company in a timely manner, which allowed him to underpay by at least $150 million for shares he purchased after his financial beneficial ownership report was due. This purchase of the 5% stake happened prior to Musk acquiring Twitter back in 2022. The SEC now says that Musk didn't disclose his existing stake in the company until 11 days after the report was due. Musk and his legal team insist that this was little more than an administrative failure or oversight, but according to the SEC, the oversight was intentional. Allegedly, Musk delayed the disclosure until after he spent more than $500 million purchasing additional shares in the company, buying the stock from the unsuspecting public at artificially low prices. By the time Musk finally disclosed his existing stake, he had acquired 9% of Twitter stock. From the SEC's lawsuit, that day, Twitter's stock price increased more than 27% over its previous day's closing price.
There's like this lost art of accounting, where you figure out how much things cost, and you add all the different things together, and Elon has rediscovered this lost art of accounting, which other people can no longer practice.
With the lawsuit, the SEC is seeking to charge Musk a fine and pay back his quote-unquote unjust profits. If the response from his legal team is any indication, he's not interested in doing any of that. But even if he did end up paying back the unjust profits and paying the fine, would it make a difference to Musk and others like him as far as discouraging bad behavior in the future? Absolutely not. How big of a fine would the SEC be able to enforceably impose on the richest man in the world before he respects its authority? The answer is an impossibly large fine. Musk is not only protected by his own wealth, but he's now also insulated within the capacity of the Trump administration. His ability to conduct business won't be impeded by any of this. His social influence won't wane with this. If anything, it might help his social influence because there is nothing that his fans love more than an embattled and victimized billionaire. They hate to see a man down. And of course, his political influence won't diminish because of this. He's practically moved into Mar-a-Lago to be closer to the president-elect that he helped to get elected. He's actively interfering with governments overseas, and he's basically serving in ours. Not to mention, he's reportedly in talks to purchase TikTok now, which would be his second social media company. TikTok, in its desperation to find an American buyer so it doesn't lose access to the American market, might actually be considering the sale. With the January 19th deadline less than a week away, the company is running out of time and options to make something happen. The questions now are whether or not China would even allow a sale like that to take place, and what a TikTok owned and run by Elon Musk would even be like. It certainly wouldn't be the TikTok we know today if the new post-Musk Twitter is any indication. According to reporting from CNN, TikTok users tend to value humor and originality while discouraging trolls. That could change under a Musk-run TikTok that's emerged with X, a site that's become a haven for people who think they're smarter and funnier than they are. Another consideration is that Musk has plenty of shareholders to whom he is somewhat beholden. They're still mad that he bought Twitter for $44 billion, but there's also concern that he's spreading himself too thin. He's running several companies, including Tesla, SpaceX, and X. He's co-running a department in the Trump administration, and he's busy interfering, as I mentioned, in international politics. One analyst suggested that Musk purchasing TikTok could potentially double X's value, which has tanked since Musk took it over, but I don't know who much cares about X anymore apart from the MAGA blue checks. Mr. Beast is also in talks to purchase TikTok, but while he is younger and seemingly less insidious than Elon Musk, I don't trust that guy. He's still a billionaire who wields an uncomfortable amount of social influence. That aside, it's not great either way that billionaires own and run all of our media and social media outlets. Who's really winning here? The creators on TikTok that are mourning the potential loss of their income stream are facing what could be likened to mass layoffs at large and more traditionally structured tech corporations. Ultimately, it's about the general instability that has become a staple in so many of our lives. First, we were told that the move was to go to college, get a job at a big company, and work there for decades until you retire. Now we see millennials and Zoomers getting laid off before they can even start to meaningfully build their lives. Then the people who bravely chose to buck the system sought to earn their own livings on the new social media platforms as content creators and influencers. They were considered the entrepreneurs and the early adopters of their generations, and they were rightfully rewarded for it. Still, they were very much subject to the whims of these giant platforms that they built their existence on. An algorithm change, for example, often unannounced and unexplained, could result in significant revenue losses for creators. The instability that they fled simply followed them as they pursued a less traditional path. That said, if TikTok is ultimately banned in the US, people will find other platforms to exist on. They already are. But the culture has already been altered to such a degree that the world before TikTok influencers and content seems a distant memory. Too distant, in my opinion, but that's because I'm old and long for the days of DVD players. If anything good can be said about any of this, it might be that these generations have now become adept at pivoting and tub-thumping their ways through life, but that is of little solace when the alternative could have just been a more restful and stable life. All right, that's it for me. If you got anything out of this, please like the video and subscribe to the channel for more. Thanks.